When was the last time you bought fine, high-quality jewelry and received affordable pricing, wonderful customer service, free shipping, and a money-back guarantee? Chances are it's never happened. Until now. Introducing SupremeDeals.net, the new online jeweler offering unparalleled quality. And they're so committed to making jewelry affordable, the prices on many items, including engagement rings, are negotiable. Visit SupremeDeals.net for jewelry designed with passion, delivered with love.
Catch the RCWR show with Lee Sanders every Tuesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, only on Spreaker.com. Covering all things WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, Global Force Wrestling, Paragon Pro Wrestling, any and all things wrestling and beyond, as well as an occasional appearance by some kick-ass awesome guests. 10 p.m. Eastern, only on Spreaker.com. Hey, if you can't catch our shows live, you can scoop it up on demand on great platforms such as Spreaker, iTunes, Mixlr, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, TuneIn Radio, and on YouTube. Just use the keywords, The RCWR Show.
Enjoy all episodes of The RCWR Show on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio.
False with willful calumniated makes my flesh tremble in that of every greeting.
Oh, yes. What was it you said to me before? Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Look, I'm making dinner tonight. Can I borrow my table?
Just languish there, darling. My parents were slaughtered by Aborigines, Mr. Quigley. They attacked so fast, my mother was found dead still holding us sewing.
Just a minute. Robin Hood steals money from my pocket, forcing me to hurt the public. And they love him for it?
Yes. They say you are a wizard. They say you're an imbecile.
If it is only with civil war that we can get our independence, then so be it!
I am the Metatron. Don't tell me the name doesn't ring a bell. You people.
I always considered you as a father to me.
Quillag. By Grabthar's hammer, by the sons of Warvan, you shall be avenged.
Hurry! What is it?
Where shall I
Nothing. Nothing, I'm fine.
Looking for anything in particular, sir?
Yes, that necklace there, how much is it?
It's £270.
Alright, I'll have it. I think you ought to know I'm feeling very depressed.
Well, we have something that should take your mind off things.
It won't work. I have an exceptionally large mind. It answers to you. And you only.
Does it?
My lord, I have a secret mission for you. Yes, sir. I like to send people money when they write me about their financial problems, but my staff has been trying to get me to stop. You think you could help me to keep this going?
Absolutely, Mr. President.
I appreciate your help with this. And please, don't tell Nancy.
Of course not.
covering the latest in entertainment and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR Show. And now your host, as featured on Wrestling Inc. and TNA Insider, Lee Sanders.
What is up, kiddies? It's the one and only Black Avenger, a.k.a. the Black Azrael, Lee Sanders, coming at you on a little bit of a somber January 19th, 2016. Oh, man, I can't tell you, just how melancholy I am feeling right about now, but we definitely are going to liven up the mood as best as we can, as there is a decent amount that we get to look forward to coming up this weekend. If you are a WWE fan, as we have the 29th annual WWE Royal Rumble event that's going to be coming up, we'll be diving into that in, I would say, the later part of the show, but at the same time, I do want to try to keep this under 2 hours as much as humanly possible, because if you're following me on Twitter at the RCWR Show, I put an interesting tweet out with a picture as I have made my triumphant return after several years of inactivity. I reactivated my GameFly account as I was trying to find a really cool game to check out. I've still been playing around with the Xbox One, trying to find some interesting titles I could get into. I've already grown very bored of the WWE 2K16 video game. Now, I know for you hardcore WWE 2K fans that's out there, I know graphic wise and all that other good jazz, this is to be one of the most popular WWE 2K games of all time. But for me, I think what really was a wow for me personally is the fact that you can't have the custom music and all that for your created wrestlers. And that's always been a big feature for me for several years. I can't tell you how many friends, family members, people I knew that went into the wrestling industry as an independent performer and all that. That's one of the main features of these WWE games over vast majority of the years. That's a tongue twister right there. Vast majority of the years. And the highlight is being able to create your wrestler, have that custom entrance and all that, and it's just not the same. So, I mean, for me, it was just I don't really care for playing with the actual wrestlers. I mean, yeah, I might play with the Stone Colds. I might play as a Brock Lesnar, a Mankind, a Bret Hart, but after a while that gets a little bit redundant. You kind of want to play with your own original creations and all that, have the own custom music. And for me, it was what else is out there? I've been playing the Telltale games, Walking Dead. Needed a little bit of a break from that one. I actually came across Batman Arkham Knight. I totally have forgot about the game, as it was on my to-do list, and I was just reminded over the weekend when I was messing around looking for a cool game to play in the marketplace. They had this deluxe bundle that was $70, and I said to my girl, hey, can we get this right now? Can we afford this game right now? She was like, nah, we got this coming up, try again at a later date. I was but I really wanted to play that game, so I ended up going to GameFly, who offered me a 30-day trial. It's been that long since I've been with GameFly, believe it or not, so I ended up going back to them. Still the same shipping speed as I remember it, putting games in the instant queue, all that good jazz. So we're going to try to have this show be nice and short, because I'm definitely going to be getting my Batman fix on before I call it a night. And we got snow coming over here too in the next couple of days. Everybody's already panicking, whether you believe it or not. But yeah, so pretty solid stuff that's going on right there. Kick on back, interact with me for the next little bit. We got the chat room that's live, active right now via Spreaker, the website, or if you have the Spreaker app, you could check us out that way. Enter the chat room that way. Say hello. Twitter at the RCWR Show. Facebook, Infinity One Productions. That's with an E. Spell out one. Infinity One Productions. Hey, we got to give a shout out to Our sponsor for tonight's episode, as is being brought to you in part by SupremeDeals.net, where when it comes to quality fine jewelry, they have you covered. They carry chains, bracelets, earrings, necklaces, pendants, you name it, they got it. They have officially gotten their seal by the Better Business Bureau, who gave a fantastic review for them. Check them out. Safe, secured, easy, hassle-free. SupremeDeals.net. You fellas out there, and I know there's a lot of you fellas that listen to moi every single week. Let me ask you again, because I asked you last week. Are you ready for your honey this Valentine's Day? If not, you haven't figured out what type of a cool gift to get them, you better be listening to what I'm saying, and you better hit up my good friends over at SupremeDeals.net. One more time, SupremeDeals.net. Really appreciate them for kicking in a little something to bring to you in part this episode, as, hey man, a lot of stuff to cover. So yeah, we opened up the show there. I thought, man, we can't open up the show without acknowledging the passing. A lot of people passed last week. It just had me go, what the fuck? 'Cause it's like just crazy how once we're done with the show, it's like 7 days next time I go on the air, unless something really, really major goes down. Sometimes I will take to YouTube, but normally I'm kind of like, well, if it can kind of wait till Monday or correction, Tuesday, if it can wait till next Tuesday's show, great. So yeah, like 7 days, and it's just amazing how much goes down within a week, man. But we lost some heavy hitters. It just continues from December going into this month, 2016. I mean, even you all have to admit, just really has not been kind for celebrities, man, as we had lost veteran actor Alan Rickman. You guys definitely are familiar with that man, as he was notorious from the Harry Potter series. He was also in the first Die Hard movie going back, what was that, 1988. He had passed, died at the age of 69, had cancer, was battling cancer for a series of months. You're like, oh, goddamn. But then what like really was a 1-2 punch, just Monday. Yes, Monday, just 24 hours ago, we have found out that the heart and soul of the Eagles, the founder of the Eagles, Glenn Frey, songwriter, one of the most underrated guitarists. I don't really think he really got his props as a guitarist, but in either case, had a great singing career, great guitar player, great songwriter, underrated actor. I mean, come on now, Jerry Maguire, but I can go a little bit further back than that, and I can point out an episode of Miami Vice called Smuggler's Blues, in which he played a pilot that was smuggling drugs in between the states, countries, and all that. Underrated actor. He passed away. He died at the age of 69, if I'm not mistaken. And like a lot of mystery was surrounding his death. Like, what the hell exactly was going on with him? They said that he had died due to complications of rheumatoid arthritis. Hopefully I am pronouncing that right. If I butchered the hell out of that name, I humbly apologize in advance. But again, I believe I'm pronouncing the term right. Rheumatoid arthritis. It's also been revealed that he had been suffering with this for about over 15 years, as well as he was battling pneumonia right on up to his death, other health complications. Now, for those of you that's wondering what exactly is going on with that form of arthritis that I mentioned, that's basically from the medical term here. It looks like it's a long-lasting autoimmune disorder that really homes in on the joints. And typically the results are often warm, swollen, painful joints. There's a lot of stiffness, and it worsens when basically the joints are like at a standstill, when it's just at a calm and there's no type of movement that's going on. Most common, it affects the wrists, the hands. It's pretty. If you were to look up pictures of it, it's not something you'd want your worst enemy to have. You wouldn't want to wish it upon your worst enemy. Let me tell you, it's that bad. I actually knew, now that I kind of think about it, I actually knew of some people that had suffered from it over the years, and it's definitely not pretty, let me tell you. So he was on medications to try to help out with that, and a lot of speculation is being put out there that just all of those things combined had to do with what many are feeling is an untimely death. And, you know, for me, one of the first things that I remember about Glenn Frey, definitely his tenure with the Eagles, which brings me to another thing. You know, I appreciated the hell. Can't stress this enough. I appreciated the hell out of all the news stations out there that I saw on my television past 24 hours, acknowledging his passing and all that. But the one thing that they all kept doing, which I personally felt was irritating, maybe it was different for you in your respected city, state. If so, as far as the coverage goes, I'd love to hear from you. Hit me up on social media. I'll give you a favorite or a retweet if I do catch it and I read it. But one thing that I noticed over here in the coverage on the news stations from the DMV area is every time they mentioned the passing of Glenn Frey, you know what was the one song that they just kept showing? Eagles Take It Easy. Now look, that is a fantastic freaking song. Make no mistake about it. I love that song. I love that song tremendously. I am an Eagles fan. I have all of their albums. I'm a big fan of Glenn Frey and his solo career, right? But like, I couldn't help but also say to myself, okay, these guys are homing in on the Eagles, but nobody is really also acknowledging the fact that after the Eagles had broke up in 1980, for like that entire decade of the 80s, he had a really damn good, strong solo career. I mean, it wasn't anything like Michael Jackson breaking away from the Jackson 5 or Bobby Brown getting away from New Edition or Johnny Gill getting away from New Edition or anything like that. You know, it didn't reach those type of heights, if you will, but the man had a bona fide great solo career. And I mean, when you just think about some of the songs that came out during the 80s, The Heat Is On, The Heat Is On, yeah, The Heat Is on. I mean, that song was freaking everywhere. And then Smuggler's Blues, You Belong to the City. You Belong to the City has to be one of the most sampled songs from a rap artist to this very day. I mean, it's got soul, it's got the hook, it's got the bass, it's got the beat. Rap artists to this day, that song has been sampled for many years now, but it gets a lot of love from the rap hip hop community. Jay-Z, Papoose, Jay Stallion, and Jay Fresh, just to name a few, that joint has stayed sampled over the years. And I just really wish that a lot of these news stations would have like also acknowledged the fact that, cause he, you know, look, I'm not saying he was like a Brad Pitt handsome or whatever like that, but back in the 80s, he was definitely a good looking guy. Definitely a good looking guy. And I tell you, I remember being a kid. I remember watching him on that infamous episode of Miami Vice. Matter of fact, I think the episode was called Smuggler's Blues or whatever like that. Michael Mann was very impressive. You got to remember, Michael Mann back then for Miami Vice, he was the executive producer. He would direct a few episodes. There was also some that he had a hand in writing. Now, eventually he would step away from the series and move on to other projects. But for those first, I think it was 2, maybe 3 seasons that he was involved with the series, I'm telling you, he got wind of Glenn Frey and he was like, man, love this guy's music. Got to try to figure out some type of way to incorporate this man, incorporate his music on an episode of Miami Vice. And what ended up happening was Glenn Frey had did a original song for Michael Mann, for Miami Vice, You Belong to the City. And every and anybody that was growing up in the 80s that remembers Miami Vice infamously remember that episode of Miami Vice. You got Don Johnson, he's walking through the Miami city, and you got the Glenn Frey song playing, You Belong to the City, and you're like, it just captured what really that series was all about in a nice tiny capsule, in a nice nutshell. Okay. And that song, like I said, that was an original song for Miami Vice. Song was so popular. So many people were like, we gotta have that song. We gotta have that song. That eventually, it was put out on a Miami Vice soundtrack. And that album had charted the top Billboard 200. It was way up there. It was like high up there. I don't know if it was number 1 or what, but it was on the Billboard 200 chart for 11 weeks back in 1985, making it a record that it still holds to this very day. One of the best-selling and most successful TV soundtracks of all time. All time. Popular right there. Smuggler's Blues episode, that's the name, Miami Vice, in case you guys maybe want to check that out or whatnot. But he had a really good solo career. Don Henley, he tried to kind of stay a little bit true to his roots in later years, but I remember he flirted with pop right when he had went the solo route and everything, whereas Glenn stuck to his roots. Glenn stuck to the rock, the soft ballads, nice tender ballads and all that. As he got older, I know a lot of people probably maybe didn't enjoy his last solo effort, album called After Hours. It came out in 2012. It found him going into a Rod Stewart, Frank Sinatra, Tony Bennett type of style, if you will. I thought it was a really great and brilliant album. He's getting up there in the age. He's trying to utilize his voice as best possible. Not to mention, I felt it was a really good experimentation on the jazz genre. I thought he did a superb job, but God bless him. He was able to give it one last go round with the Eagles, as we never thought that the Eagles would get back together. But after like a 14-year vacation is how Glenn had described it, Eagles had got back together. They did a Hell Freezes Over tour, and they just kept touring. They kept touring. Eventually, they had released a new album of new material, A Long Road to Eden in 2008. That had followed by a tour. There was supposed to be a final farewell tour that we thought was only going to last like maybe 2 years, but it just kept going and going and going. It only ended last year, and I am sure that Don Henley is just like, what the hell? I saw some of the things that he had to say on, I believe, social media or in an official statement, saying he knew Glenn for over 45 years. They were friends, hell, they were brothers, they were family, and I know he's got to be taking it very hard, but definitely, man, I was telling my girl, and I was talking to a couple of coworkers about this since the news had broke out, and I just said to them, can you believe this? All these people that have passed. Really, it just kicked off in December, and it just seems like every week somebody else is passing, and it's just like so, it just makes you feel so numb. It makes you feel so depressed. Like, and I was talking to my boss today about it, and I told her, I said, even you have to admit, because she's about 20 years older than me. No, wait a minute. Is she 20? No, she's 15 years older than me. And I said to her, I said, even you have to admit, this is getting a little bit creepy. This is getting a little bit ridiculous. And she was like, yeah, it's like, we were just talking about this last week, literally. And like, now here we are. Somebody else passed. It's like, yeah, but look, definitely my heart, my condolences goes out to all the family, friends, musical colleagues of Glenn Frey. Definitely, he will truly be missed. I'm just like shell-shocked right now, and I just can't help but wonder who's next. Like, you know, because it's like the way these people are just, I said, I wasn't really trying to make a joke, but I basically said, is there like some type of a cruise that like maybe we all don't know about? Because like, it seems like everybody's going, the people that are passing, it seems like they're going, what day you got? What day are you going? You're going Tuesday? Okay, yeah, I'll go Thursday, no problem. What day you going? You're going, oh, you're going to go Monday? Okay, all right, no problem. I mean, that's just really how it comes off. It really, really does. But Godspeed, Mr. Glenn Frey. Thank you for the great body of work you left behind as a musician, as an actor. It's definitely something that's going to be passed down from generation to generation, that will continue to play a huge part in the lives of so many people and their kids and all of that. So I can't say nothing bad about Glenn Frey. Definitely will be missed. Big part of my childhood right there from the 80s, let me tell you. And, you know, when it comes to the RCWR show, if it's Tuesday nights, we usually try to do a 2 for Tuesday for you guys. But we got a nice, I think it's a triple dose, or maybe it's a, no, it's a 4-dose music selections of Glenn Frey in his solo career. I really wanted to focus more on that instead of egos. Try to take a little bit of a different approach from any and everything that the other radio stations out there are doing and everything. So I see, with regards to last time we were on the air, how about what's been going on with football? Man, let me tell you, I watched that Sunday night game between the Broncos and the Steelers. And, you know, I don't know how many of you guys had stuck around for the NFL on CBS postgame show, but I so with 100% accuracy agreed with what Tony Gonzalez had said. And I just was looking at the rest of the panel as they were kind of like quiet when he said what he said, when he was giving his afterthoughts on the Broncos Steelers game, which was, you know, we got to give the kicker of the Broncos a lot of props, because aside from defense, you look at what the field goal kicker did for the Broncos. He kept them in the game. He helped them with the victory. He did 5 field goal kicks. Let's give the field goal kicker some love. And like, nobody wanted to like touch that. It was almost kind of like, you dare say something negative about Peyton Manning and his Bronco team? It was kind of like, almost like, let's not touch that. That's kind of hush hush. And I know CBS, I know a lot of the guys on CBS, definitely Jim Nantz, Phil Simms. To me, they kind of come off as if they're really trying to be buddy chum. They try to kiss the ass a little bit, so to speak, of Peyton Manning. They don't really want to say anything bad about him, and they try to justify whatever's going on and everything like that. And it was so interesting too, because I got into a conversation about this with a coworker, and apparently he actually used to train with Peyton Manning back when they were both in their teens, like when he was 18, Peyton was 19 or whatever like that. So he got a chance to work alongside him. He got a chance to face him and everything like that. And he was telling me, I could kind of tell that some of the things I was saying to him, because he asked me straight up, what did I think of the game? And I told him, I said, look, Peyton was off. The arm strength, it looked like it was there. You know, he was stepping back and he was doing what he could, but the Steelers defense, they were able to get to him a few times. Some people wanted to say, oh, well, it was the wind that was kind of messing him up. It was windy out there, but Steelers were able to get their catches just fine. Peyton struggled in making third down conversions. I just basically, what I was trying to get around that was Peyton had a bad night. He didn't have any driving touchdowns, nothing like that. And I could tell my friend was a little bit like trying to go to the defense of Peyton, but I pretty much told him, I said, well, you know, all due respect, you didn't watch the game. You really got to watch the game to really be able to come away and kind of understand where folks like me are coming from. And I'm one of those type of people. I've always been a fan of Peyton Manning. I'm not expecting this man who's damn near close to 40 to continue to pull up Superman type of numbers and all that. I know everybody has their off game and everything like that. But like, and I even told my friend, I said, look, I said, Peyton was even man enough to admit after they got the win and all that. I forgot who it was that he spoke to post game, but he basically said, hey, look, defense kept us around. We got to give them a lot of props. Peyton really didn't say anything about the kicker though. But again, 15 of your points came from the kicker. And that kicker position, I think it is one of the most overlooked, underrated positions of all time because, come on, when it comes to kickers, only name everybody could put out there, Adam Vinatieri. Now, if you're a hardcore football fan, you could probably name more kickers than that, but most folks, the casual football fans like myself, they're just going to be like Adam Vinatieri, right? So, I mean, for me, this is the point that I made to him, and I don't know, he kind of was in his own little, I could tell he was one of those, you could have the stats, you could have the facts, he's gonna just be gun-ho defensive, and yeah, that's his right and everything like that. But for you smarter football fans that's out there, I think you all will definitely be in agreement with me. If Peyton Manning plays the way that he played this past weekend, man, they are not going to the Super Bowl. Enough said. They are not going to the Super Bowl. Cam Newton had a phenomenal performance. Really had thoroughly enjoyed that game. Yeah, man, he really could be the next Michael Jordan. Let me tell you, he really could be the next Michael Jordan. Those were some great games that we got, and then we got this weekend that's going to be coming up. Those are going to be some really solid games coming up. I actually won't be able to watch those because I will be at work. Which reminds me, speaking of work, I want to kind of get into this topic. It's a good segue because it basically sets up, gets the I don't know, some of you guys, you might be like, let's get to the wrestling stuff. We're going to get to that. I mean, come on, you know how we've been doing it. If you've been listening long enough, we mix in a little bit of everything. But coming up, we will talk about WWE Raw. I'll give you my thoughts on key points from that episode. I'll also talk about my picks for the Royal Rumble. We definitely got some good wrestling plugs that we're going to tackle, but first I just want to, we were talking about work and all that. So I know a while back I had told you guys how I had picked up a second gig and I've basically been juggling the two. And, I got to a point where this past weekend, I just went on ahead and I put in my 2-week resignation. And the main reason why I put in my 2-week resignation, I just really had enough. I just got tired of this. I was doing some part-time work on the side on the weekends at a Hallmark. And I don't know how many of you guys really peeped this out, but now that I've been on the inside and all these years I was only outside looking in, now that I kind of know the inner workings of empire like that, I'm kind of walking away going, wow,
A lot of those cats, I have nothing but respect for them, respect and admiration, because I basically learned the 4 months that I was working up there was I'm not a salesman, and they want you to always be selling. Whatever promotions that they have going on is not so much of giving the customer a good deal, trying to please them, trying to find the right item that would best suit them and their needs, but it's mainly about trying to get X amount of items sold because there's like this competition thing, and then they're trying to meet store sales quota, all that other jazz, right? So for me, I just really had enough of that. I did not like the management. Was I treated with respect? Well, it depends on who I was working with. With fellow coworkers that were not in supervising positions, such as myself, there was respect, and it was like to a point where it made the shifts just run so easier when you would have someone that you could converse with. I'm sure a lot of you can definitely relate to that, but it just, the old saying, there's no such thing as a stupid question. Just open your mouth and, you just want to know what you need to know so you know how to do your job properly. You feel what I'm saying? And for me, it just seemed like every single time I had a legitimate question, concern about something, I always got these looks like, and it's like, great, you've been working up here for 15, 20 fucking years. You know everything. That's fucking great. Guess what? I don't know jack shit about this stuff, so that's why I'm coming to you for the help. And it just always kind of seemed like I was getting these backhanded, smug type of responses from certain people that I had worked with. And I just decided, you know what, work is picking up really good at the day job that I've had for a few years now. Pays me very well. I've got nice Christmas bonuses. I've been made to feel encouraged to speak my piece. My opinion is always taken. The bosses respect me so much so they consider me a friend. I just say, you know what, enough is enough. So I put in my 2-week resignation, typed it up, did it real nice, did it very professional. And my only regret, I didn't call my boss to, make it official. Given the way my schedule is and their schedule is, it's really hard for us to even try to talk on the phone. So I had no choice but to leave a letter. Didn't hear anything yet, but it brings me to a very valid point that I am trying to make right here. So please indulge me, because you younger folks out there, I see the age demographics, and I can't really stress this enough, because I know a lot of you guys be listening to the show while you're at work or maybe going to and from and all that. I can't stress this enough. If you are not filling your place of employment, no matter what the circumstances may be, as far as why you feel as disgruntled as you do, if you have gotten to a point that you want to leave that employer, if your attendance has been on point, if you have been nothing but respectful, you've done your job to the best of your ability, you don't have any blemishes on your record with that respected employer, and you've put in more than 6 months, I'm going to say 4 months, but I'll go with 6 just to make it, a little bit sweeter. You owe it to yourself to make sure that you end things on a good note. End it properly. Try to avoid just prematurely doing no call, no show because you got another job and it's basically sayonara, bitch. The world is very, very small, and it just has a weird way of coming back, and just trust me with regards to that. Not to dive too much into it, but there was a colleague of mine. I told you guys, I think last week, the story about the woman that would not sign a best wishes card. In case I didn't, last week, my boss, she had passed around this card because the owner's sister-in-law's, was it her husband? No, father. So the owner's sister-in-law's father had passed away. And my boss thought it would be a really cool idea to get a best wishes card, condolences card, pass it around the office, everybody signs. Well, long story short, this one particular coworker, let's call her Stella, she did not sign the card when it initially came to her. So my boss said, okay, well, hey, can you sign the card so I can go on ahead and get the other folks to sign it? And Stella was on the phone and she just wasn't able to get to signing the card. So my boss said, okay, you know what? While I'm waiting for her to sign, let me go on ahead and let me just continue to take the card around, get the remaining signatures I needed. This way it'll be done. Only signature that'll be left is getting Stella's. So Stella actually got pissed that my boss took the card away from her. That when my boss came up to Stella and was like, hey, you can sign the card now, she goes, oh no, that's okay. I'm not gonna sign it. I don't know about you guys, but that's got to be the most pettiest fucking bullshit I ever heard in my entire life. And she was like, why you like have an attitude? I don't understand. You can sign the card now. Don't act like that. That's just wrong. And she's like, oh, I don't have an attitude. Clear as day. I could fucking hear it. Sister sounded like she had a fucking attitude. And I just remember overhearing my boss talking to one of her peers, who's a boss as well, and she had enough. She called her in the office and gave her a tongue lashing, and woman came on up out of there, laughing and smile on her face or some shit like that. And the next thing you know, like a couple of days after that, she just walks up, didn't even give a 3-day notice, 2-week notice, no 3-day notice, just basically said on a Friday, hey, I'm done, I got a job somewhere else. And just quit, just like that. It's like, okay, so basically, lady, you just flushed 5 years of employment down the toilet. Because that's how long she was working up there. And I went behind closed doors with my boss and I was like, so what's going on? Like, is it true that this person quit? And she told me, and she honestly, for the life of her, she couldn't figure out what was going on. She said she really didn't put that much thought into it. And I told her what I thought. I said, honestly, she did not like the fact that you pulled her card, that you checkmate her ass. And as a result of that, she just basically had enough. I told her, I said, I don't believe that shit about, oh, she had found another job. It's like, I don't believe that. It's like, I believe she just quit. And as we later had learned, she was getting a lot of help from the government as far as financial aid for, roof over her head. She was in some type of a transitional housing program or whatever like that. If you're familiar with how that type of stuff works as you're trying to get a Section 8 certificate and all that other shit, then you know exactly where I'm going with regards to that, how that shit works, alright? Google if you don't know what I'm talking about. But I can't stress it enough, because the older you get, I'm finding, and you burn bridges that's like totally like unnecessary to burn. And the older you get, the more harder it is to explain that gap of period as far as what you were doing for employment. You feel what I'm saying? When you're trying to go after that next job, unless you have a friend that knows people in the right places that will overlook that. I can tell you for previous experience, employers, and you can research this yourself, employers do not like it when they see extended gaps in the timeline, because they want to know what you were doing during that period, why you were not working, or if you were working, what is it you were doing. They want for everything to be accounted for, pretty much leading right on up to you being in front of them getting that damn interview. That's just basically how it goes. So when you're young, when you're in your teens, you got the whole world in the palm of your hands and you can just fucking go, fuck this. But like, as you get older and you come into more financial responsibility, you're paying your own fucking utility bills, you're paying your own rent, your own mortgage, you're paying for your car insurance, you got a kid in the picture, all that other priorities changing. You kind of like gotta get that mentality of how you would just come to a haste decision when you were much younger, and you gotta really plot it out and make sure that you're doing things on the right foot. So I can't stress this enough. If you're thinking about quitting that job, first, make sure that you have something else that's lined up. And then once you do have something else lined up, you know, if you can help it at all costs, try to end things on a good note, put in that 2-week notice, and there you go. Enjoy yourself. You feel what I'm saying? But I am counting it down. I've got my 2 weeks to go. What I want to do next? Well, you know, I was telling the missus about it. I'm kind of interested in going back to church. So I might look into that with her. Definitely want to do some spare time on the weekends to fix up the house a little bit. Look into making some much needed repairs. That really has been needed for a good while now. Definitely some rest and relaxation for a little bit, but I would eventually like to get back out there and find another gig that I feel would really complement the first gig that I have, as I just like staying busy nowadays. You feel where I'm coming from? I don't know about you guys, but for me, I don't really like just lounging around. Nowadays, I kind of feel as though like I need to be doing something rather constructive, you know? Let's talk wrestling on that note. Something constructive, yeah? So, I see we had got Monday Night Raw. A couple of key points. I love the fact that the McMahons, I couldn't help but laugh my ass off. They screwed the hell out of Roman Reigns, as the $1 million question on a lot of people's minds was, well, hey, what's going on with the Royal Rumble lottery? Who all is going to be kicking off the Royal Rumble? What's up? Really, it came no shock to me that Roman Reigns was going to start as number one. I couldn't help but just think from a booking standpoint, if you're really, 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 really trying to stick it to the WWE champion, you're going to stick it to him by having him face 29 other participants at the Royal Rumble. Well, the only way you can really make that go down is by having him be the number one participant. So I think a lot of us saw that coming, yeah? I would hope that didn't, shock you guys. I was laughing at the way that it was presented. I thought that was hilarious how Stephanie just kept busting out that giant bam, and that bad boy said Roman Reigns on the lottery ball piece of paper there. I thought that was hilarious. I love the strong ending to Raw, as I thought it was gonna pretty much end with Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar stare down or whatever. All hell erupts between the two. No, we didn't even get that. And where the hell was Chris Jericho? Chris Jericho, he's talking about he's back to save the WWE. Looked as though we were going to originally get a Y2J Brock Lesnar one-on-one face-off. I thought that was very intriguing, because I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, these two never locked up, did they? And I'm like, oh, well, this should be interesting. And then we had got Roman Reigns. It was well, so much for that. Okay, let's see what happens now. And Jericho just pulled the Undertaker / Bray Wyatt. He just I don't know if he got teleported or what. He just disappeared. He vaporized. That's basically what went down with Jericho. But I love the fact that while Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar were going at it, Wyatt family came in. They made their presence felt. I mean, it went off wow, maybe Royal Rumble could be all about Bray Wyatt and the Wyatt family. I mean, that was a really good, strong send-off. I felt it got me excited for the Royal Rumble event. In between, as far as trying to remember every single nook and cranny that happened on WWE Raw. it gets harder and harder by the week. And it's not because of age. It's just because there's like so many hooplas of BS that you have to go through that there's only but nowadays just a handful of things that you can recall from it. Like, I enjoyed the Charlotte Becky Lynch segment. I thought that was one of the most intense segments since these girls have been working their program on main WWE programming. I'm looking forward to that matchup for the Divas title. It was great seeing Natty and Paige back on the main roster. We have the premiere of Total Divas. I don't know if that's happening tonight or later this week, but yes, Total Divas is back. No, to those of you that keep asking me, I will not watch Total Divas. I don't care for Total Divas. I don't. Look, I tried to watch an episode with my girl, and my girl, who is a big fan of the Divas, she has her favorites that she doesn't mind kicking back and watching. Even she was like, this shit's so weak, you know, it's not for everybody's cup of tea. Now, that may offend some people, but, you know, look, you know, it's just not my cup of tea. I don't knock anybody that decides they want to watch it. You're a guy, you like that, more power to you. That's right up your alley. That's right up your alley. But me personally, I don't care about that type of stuff. And I guess because when I was growing up, I saw stuff like that on Jerry Springer. I saw stuff like that on Maury. You know, I saw that type of little, you know, and then Real World and all that. It's like, you know, I've kind of grown out of that stuff, you know. So for me, it's like, oh, well, here's what you used to watch back in the day, but it's just revamped, and instead of it being men, it's gonna be, I just don't particularly care for that type of stuff. But a great seeing Natty and Paige back on main WWE programming. League of Nationalities. Enough said right there. That was an Archie Bunker moment. You guys that were following me on Twitter throughout the night, you'll get that little joke right there. Hey, I did catch up on some WWE programming on the network. I ended up seeing the Stone Cold podcast with Ric Flair. I thought that was a fairly entertaining interview. I went into it say to myself, I bet you a lot of the questions that's going to be thrown at Rick is going to have to do with his autobiography. Sure enough, it was. They talked about his upbringings, being trained by Vern Gagne, being adopted. How did he find out that he was adopted? What was going on with his natural parents? Did he try to pursue and finding out who they were? The plane crash, the infamous plane crash that went down, what was that, in 1985 that he was in? His WrestleMania retirement match with Shawn Michaels, his Hall of Fame, all of those things that basically he covered in his autobiography. All of that was tackled during the interview with Stone Cold. I think it ran for like about maybe almost 50 minutes. I was expecting all that. The only thing new that I thought was interesting was the talk about his daughter Ashley, Charlotte for you guys, getting into the business, how that all had came about, the infamous segment that happened 2 months ago with the son Reed being brought into the Charlotte Paige program. Those were really the only new elements that I saw that was kind of like worth. But I will say this. If you have never read Ric Flair's autobiography, then I would say, yeah, check out the Stone Cold podcast with Ric Flair. If anything, it should incline you more to go pick up Ric Flair's autobiography. But if you're a seasoned wrestling fan like me, you've read all the books that's out there, and this is something you didn't get around to checking out because you kind of felt as though, based on what you saw of the trailers, it was going to be a bit disappointing. If you were to ask me, to you veteran folks out there, if this is something you should check out or skip, I would say skip. If you've never read Ric Flair's autobiography, check it out. If you have read his autobiography and, maybe you want to know if there's any new elements in there that is worth sticking around, checking out, no, I would say go on ahead, skip it. You're not really missing anything. You're not missing anything. But if you like to see two WWE Hall of Famers just, have fun and just go right at it, then that's the show for you. I haven't checked out the JBL Road Dogg special yet. JBL with Legends, as this go around, he's talking with Road Dogg, Jesse James. That premiered on the network last night. I will be checking that out later this week, and I'll talk about that next week with you guys. We were talking about the Royal Rumble earlier. Let's go on ahead and let's take a look at the Royal Rumble. This is going to be a quick rundown. I just want to give my picks on what I see going down at this year's Royal Rumble. So I see right now we don't have anything for the pre-show. New Day, they're taking on the Usos for the WWE Tag Team titles. I still like New Day, quite honestly. I still like them. I think Usos will get the tag belts, but I think it might be on a much bigger, grander scale. Like maybe they'll get them at WrestleMania, or then again, maybe New Day will go over at WrestleMania. That would be a first, but I still like the momentum. I still like the team of New Day. They're still entertaining as hell. Catching on well with the kids. Their merchandise is selling. Good numbers from what I'm hearing. I gotta continue to go with the New Day. New Day for the retain. Charlotte takes on Becky Lynch. Singles match for the Divas title. Ooh. I said a couple of months ago that I'm getting the impression that WWE Hall of Famer Medusa may be itching to get in the ring one more time. She could still go. You see her look. She has done a phenomenally good job in staying in shape all these years. I said a few months back, don't be too surprised if maybe Medusa works a program with Paige or Charlotte. I still think that's going to happen. I still think something might go down as far as WrestleMania and all that goes. It's part of my big old conspiracy theory of bringing back the women's division, if you will, and retiring the Divas division. That's going to be a damn good technical match between Charlotte and Becky Lynch. Hook or by crook, I got Charlotte retaining the Divas title. Alberto Del Rio, I understand he won back the United States title from Kalisto, apparently on last week's SmackDown, and now they're going to be going at it again for the United States title. I am going to say Del Rio for the retain. I'm just trying to understand what exactly is going on right there. Like, why did they put the belt on Kalisto and then give it right back to ADR? Like, did Kalisto give a warning flag that he might have been injured or something, or that was just a test to see what type of a reaction he would get, or what? I'm very curious what's going on with that. I'm hoping we'll learn a little bit more in the coming days, because as it stands right now, last I've heard on the Wrestling Beat, it's been pretty ice cold as far as why the belt went back to ADR. In either case, I'm looking at ADR for the retain. Dean Ambrose takes on Kevin Owens. Last man standing match for the Intercontinental title. I gotta go with Dean Ambrose. I think Dean Ambrose needs this win more than Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens has proved belt or no belt, he does just fine. Just fine. Dean Ambrose really been floating around there, man. I'm really concerned about Dean Ambrose's position on the card, because, and when I say on the card, I don't mean the pay-per-view card, I just mean I'm concerned about his card in general, because he seems to be a guy that's just floating in purgatory. He just really kind of comes off as if creative isn't really sure exactly what to do with this young man. I don't know if you guys are kind of picking up that same vibe, but that's something I really want to take my time and really dive into next week, because I want to spend at least 20 minutes dissecting that. I don't want to do it this week. I'd rather just really, really take my time and really dissect Dean Ambrose. You guys will actually look forward to that, but I'll be talking about that more next week. But meantime, I'm looking at Dean Ambrose for the retain. Again, that's the last bad standing match for the Intercontinental title. I got Dean Ambrose retained that one. 30-man Royal Rumble match for the WWE World Heavyweight title. A lot of you guys, I had actually took to Twitter while Raw was on. And just a heads up, if you guys want to interact with me while Raw is on, you can. You know what I'm saying? Monday nights, Raw is on all 3 hours. Hit me up, follow me. I'm always putting out some interesting tweets, make you laugh, make you think a little bit or whatnot. But, I polled you guys. What of the last tweets that I had put out Monday night? I asked you guys, what exactly do you think is going to go down at the Royal Rumble? Do you think Roman Reigns is going to retain, or do you think maybe we're going to get a new WWE champion? And if we are going to get a new WWE champion, who do you think it's going to be? Poll that we had put out, your options were yes, Roman Reigns will win, he'll retain. No, Brock Lesnar wins. No, Triple H wins. Or no, someone else will. I'm going to go from the least to the highest, as far as highest being what was the overall consensus from those of you that had voted. And I appreciate all of you that had took the time out to vote. So 12% of you felt that no, Brock Lesnar is going to win the Rumble. He's going to become the new WWE champion. Meanwhile, 21% of you felt yes, Roman Reigns would retain. Meanwhile, 23% of you said no, someone else will. And a whopping 44% of you, this is a very interesting tale in itself, 44% of you felt that it's going to be Triple H that is going to win the Royal Rumble. I think, honestly, the writing is on the wall. Triple H hasn't made any appearance on main WWE programming. Yeah, he did that thing at NXT TakeOver London. We talked about that. That was definitely a bad move on Hunter's part to make that appearance and all that. But hey, it is what it is. This has been a program that has been going on for months with Roman Reigns and the Authority. And honestly, the way I'm feeling right now, I think the number 30 entrant for this year's Royal Rumble, I would not be surprised if it's Triple H. I would not be surprised if Triple H were to take away the World Heavyweight title. I truly believe in my heart of hearts that is going to be the finish. Some of you guys may look at that as a fuck finish. But, an even more interesting question. A lot of people are under the impression that maybe AJ Styles and Doc Gallows, other Bullet Club members that supposedly were signed to the WWE, maybe they're going to be making their appearance / debut, if you will, at the Rumble. I don't know. On the one hand, there's part of me that says that would be a very cool idea for that to happen. Excuse me, guys. I got allergies over here. But then there's another part of me that kind of goes, well, what if I was booking the Royal Rumble main event match? The way I would do this, I would definitely have Roman Reigns he's doing any and everything that he can to stay alive, because if he were to be eliminated in this Royal Rumble match, that guarantees a new WWE champion. I could definitely see baby faces trying to help him out. Like, I could see Dean Ambrose trying to come to his aid. I could see the Usos. I could see all of these guys forming an alliance, if you will. Team 3D. I can see all of these guys, because all of these guys, they've like intertwined in recent months. So I could see some type of an alliance being made where Roman would have some type of a team, if you will, that will basically kind of like watch out for each other, but like take out everybody else. And like, should it come down to them, then it'll just be may the best man win. But I could see at some point, I think it's going to be rough for the first little bit. I could see Roman Reigns having like a dominating, like, you know, first person he eliminates. I could see something like that go down, maybe until you get like to the second or third person, and then like it's Kane that comes out, and then, you know, maybe that's followed up with, I don't know, Big Show or something like that. I could see a scenario coming about where there's a numbers game on Roman Reigns. It's looking bad, but then he gets helped by the next entrant that's a baby face. I can see some stuff like that going on. Now, would I introduce the Bullet Club members at the Royal Rumble? I would, but at the same time, if I were to bring them in, I would bring them in during this match siding with the Authority. That is basically how I would do this. And I'm thinking from just a more long-term program, if you will. I would continue to have the Bullet Club members be a new acquisition, if you will, in helping out the Authority, as Roman Reigns will basically go on like this rampage of taking them out one by one till he works his way to Triple H at WrestleMania. Maybe he gets the belt back or whatever like that. But if I'm setting this up right, long-term wise, I need something that's going to be sizzling. I need something that's going to be popping the night after WrestleMania. I could see something play out if I were in charge of booking and writing and all that. I could see something being set up where Brock Lesnar, he's trying to get another shot at the WWE title or whatever like that. Bullet Club members, they basically take his ass out. They go after Roman Reigns. They take his ass out. I could just see on one night of Raw, the night after WrestleMania, Bullet Club members are just on a freaking rampage, taking out all these people left and right, that eventually it culminates in the Shield reforming. I think if they do this just right, and it coincides with when Seth Rollins is to return, fully healed, ready to get back in it, go for it on the main roster. I can see it coincide with the returning Seth Rollins, Shield reforms, and take on the Bullet Club members. I could definitely see some stuff like that go down if they do it just right. That's just, I know some of you guys are probably hearing that. You're like, damn, that actually sounds pretty fucking good. Look, not influenced over here. I just sat down. I just really thought about it. And I'm like, boom. It just comes to me naturally. That's just how I would honestly set it all up. But the question, would I have the Bullet Club members pop up at the Rumble? Yes, but you have to introduce them on such a strong note, and I think that is pretty much how you do it. Everybody is tired or had grown tired of seeing Big Show, seeing Kane, J&J Security, and all that other shit. You look at what's going on with the League of Nations. They're nothing but a goddamn joke right now, okay? They are a joke. It's time to introduce some newer blood, if you will. I don't think WWE has anything to lose by introducing the Bullet Club members on that type of a capacity, if you will. Of course, they could always just hold off on the Bullet Club members until the night after WrestleMania and save them for Monday's Raw. Will they do that? Honestly, they need all the star power that they can get right now. I just don't see that happening. Getting rumblings that Daniel Bryan is supposedly going to be meeting with Dr. Maroon later in the week. He's going to be doing some additional tests or whatever. I don't know if maybe this is to try to figure out if he could finally get the clear, as he is going to be in the PA area this weekend. He's going to be at a convention. A lot of people are wondering if maybe he's going to have something to do at the Royal Rumble. Honestly, I made a bold statement, I think last week, maybe a couple of weeks ago, I'm not sure, but I'll reiterate it again. I think at this point, WWE needs all the help that it can get, all the star power that it can get. It can't keep relying on Brock Lesnar and Vince McMahon. It needs all the freaking help it can get, and as a result of that, I believe that Daniel Bryan will be making his return at the Rumble. I think if you're going to bring him back, that's the way you do it. Bring him back that way. Bring him back in tag matches. Gradually get back to the point where he's on the singles career path again. But yeah, I strongly believe Daniel Bryan will be making an appearance at the Rumble. It's going to be a great feel-good moment. I don't feel in my heart of hearts that it's going to be a situation where he's going to get like such a great reaction that if he gets eliminated, the fans, they will have this backlash on Roman Reigns. No, I don't see that happening this go round. I just don't. I would actually be shocked if it ended up like it did, what was that, last year or whatever. I don't see that happening. But yeah, I'm thinking Triple H is going to be your new WWE World Heavyweight Champion. So to recap one more time, New Day got them retaining their title. I got Charlotte retaining. I have Kalisto retaining. I have Dean Ambrose retaining. And I have Roman Reigns losing the WWE title to Triple H. You know, I'm looking at this and I just can't help but wonder if there's any I'm looking, guys. I'm looking. I don't see a switch. I just don't see a switch. Del Real just got the belt back. I just don't see it happening. I think the Charlotte Becky Lynch program, it needs to be worked out at least for another month. I don't think it's right to pull the trigger just yet on Becky Lynch. Let her continue to gain some type of a momentum with the fans. New Day is still white hot. Do you maybe put the IC belt on Kevin Owens? I can only see Kevin Owens getting the IC belt back if WWE's in a position where maybe they have other plans for Dean Ambrose. But then again, I think now more than ever, Dean Ambrose really needs something to do. So for him to continue being the IC champion makes a lot of sense coming out of the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. At least I think. But I definitely would love to hear what you guys think. Hit me up all throughout social media. Let me know what your thoughts are as far as what's going to be going down at the Royal Rumble coming up this Sunday. And yes, there will be a RCWR post show covering the Royal Rumble fallout. That'll be Sunday night, immediately after Royal Rumble concludes on the East Coast. I will be live on Spreaker.com. So, DMV, listen up. As of today, Radio 1, which is the DC Powerhouse Urban Music Cluster. Get this, it ain't going to be sounding the same because as of today, it's expanding its airwaves and streams by shifting anchor morning shows to new frequencies to make room for new talent and hopefully new listeners in the DC area. So here's what went down. The Fam with Lil Mo and DJ Quicksilver, they moved from afternoons on Radio 1 Baltimore's WERQ 92.3 FM, 2 mornings on DC's WKYS 93.9 FM from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. Monday through Friday. Meanwhile, the Russ Parr Morning Show, long-time mainstay in the DC region, it is going to go from WKYS to WMMJ Magic 102.3 FM Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. And Russ's weekend show on the air, that will continue to air on WKYS on Saturdays, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Meanwhile, the Tom Joyner Morning Show, which is one of the top syndicated urban radio shows in the region, all of the United States, that is going to move from Magic to, it looks like, the Heritage Station, WOL 1450 AM, in addition to WPRS 104.1 HD2, WKYS 93.9 HD2, and WMMJ 102.3 HD2. The show will maintain its time slot Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. WOL's acclaimed Carl Nelson will move to the afternoon drive show from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. And Tom's weekend show, Right Back At Ya, will continue to air on Magic Saturdays, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. Senior Regional Vice President and General Manager of Radio 1 DC, Jeff Wilson, had this to say: to get what you've never had, you have to do what you've never done. We are excited for the unique opportunity to expand our audience and promote fresh new talent on WKYS with the fam, with Lil Mo and DJ Quicksilver, while serving our loyal listeners and keeping the momentum we have with Russ Parr, Tom Joyner, and Carl Nelson in the market. And this is something that I've been saying for like many years now, which is FM radio, AM radio. It's like starting to become a dying breed, because you've got the iHeartRadio, you've got the Pandora, you've got the Sirius, you got all these other joints that's out there that a lot of people, including myself, are going to for music. Like, I don't know how many of you all operate like this, but like, I grew up on FM radio. I still listen to FM radio. Now, some of the stations that I grew up on, their show format, the music that they play, all that, it may have changed, and as a result, I don't listen to it anymore. But one of the main staple points that has constantly been rotating in my life has always been 96.3 WHUR. They play some of the best old school, modern R&B music. Love that station. I still go to that to this very day. Don't quite enjoy the new show that they got on that comes on a little bit after midnight, after the Quiet Storm. It's called Pillow Talk, where they're basically giving love relationship advice or whatever, and like, it's talk, less on the music. I'm not really feeling that. I still love Magic 102.3. That has always been a damn good station for old school music. Love that station. But you know, a lot of these FM stations, you know, I remember a time where if you wanted to hear the latest music, what was trending and all that, you just turned on your radio, turn to the FM station, and boom, you got your fix. Now you've got all these other things that's out there that I've already mentioned, that FM radio has just been on a steady decline. And the only reason why you've got these guys like Tom Joyner, Donnie Simpson, Russ Parr, they have had respected followings for many years now. And unless you've been going at it and you've been as popular as long as they have, it's really the only way you're going to be able to have those respected connections where we'll be able to have musicians come on by, actors, other celebrities, things of that nature continue to drop by the show. You feel where I'm coming from? But I seriously would love it if FM radio could make a serious comeback. And I just wish that a lot of these cell phone company providers that's out there, I don't know how many of you are aware of this. I said this once before and I can't stress it enough. You can actually research this online. There's like this petition that's going on to basically tell cell phone couriers to activate the feature that will allow you to listen to your favorite local FM, AM radio stations. The feature, it's there. It's always been there in your damn phone, but these cell phone couriers do not want to turn it on because they want to continue to pump in all the money into the iHeart, into the Pandora, into the Sirius, and all XM radio, all that other shit. So research that when you guys get a chance. And like I said, I really hope that in the coming years, it really makes a comeback. My God, if vinyl records can make a comeback, surely FM radio can make a serious comeback. I mean, I remember there used to be a time where you could just go to FM and AM radio and you would just be in the know on what all was current. You didn't need to have an exclusive app you didn't need all that shit. Listen to me, I'm sounding like an old man. Back in my day. I'm telling you, crazy. Congratulations go to Jim Ross, who is returning to pro wrestling commentating. In case you guys had missed it, as Fox Sports reported that the WWE Hall of Famer has signed a deal to call New Japan pro wrestling matches for AXS TV. JR will work alongside Josh Barnett beginning March 4th, 9 p.m. Eastern. The episode will feature matches from Wrestling Danaku 2015 event, and it was noted that Ross is doing voice-over work from Los Angeles. He was quoted saying, "This opportunity to work with AXS TV is attractive on many fronts. The travel won't be weekly, but approximately 8 to 10 trips to Los Angeles in a year's time. While there in a 2-day voiceover session, we will hammer out up to 6 episodes. I'm happy OKC now has non-stop flights to LAX." He would go on to talk about how much of a big fan he's been of the New Japan product. And honestly, this is awesome. I'm definitely, I've been trying to make it be a New Year's resolution because I dropped the ball a little bit last year in checking out New Japan on the AXS TV channel, but I do have access to it, and now that I know Jim Ross is going to be calling it, I feel that I'll be even more connected with what's going on with the New Japan product even more. I definitely look forward to checking out the product. I'll definitely be checking it out in the coming weeks, of course, leading up to Jim Ross taking over commentating responsibilities. But for you Jim Ross fans, I thought that was just something that was really, really cool. This is good for New Japan, especially given the fact that for the second consecutive year in a row, they got a lot of great buzz with their Wrestling Kingdom pay-per-view event, getting more and more fans of the New Japan product and all that. Great news to hear right there. You guys hear about WWE apologizing to India for comments that they made that went down in a segment involving Kurt Angle disrespecting the Indian flag. Yes, this went down last week in New Delhi, India. There were calls by Hindu group Adivasi Veer Sena and some local wrestlers to protest WWE's arrival because of the 1998 segment, unless WWE apologized. Mirror issued the following comments: "This case is about 20 years ago, and we did not deliberately did that. We have a great respect for the country. We are sorry that it happened, but we had no intention of doing it. India is a reputable country, and we apologize for this." So you hear that, and again, that basically had came from the international WWE president Garrett Mayer, again apologizing for the 1998 segment involving Kurt Angle, where he took down the Indian flag and wiped his nose with it on WWE TV. So I didn't know we were apologizing for things that had went down 20 years ago. I mean, if that's the case, I wonder if I should call up like any girl I might have like seen in school and said, "My God, you're ugly as fuck." I wonder if I need to, or to the guy I said, "Hey, that's one ugly ass zit on your forehead. You look like shit." I wonder if I need to like hunt these people down and like apologize for something that I said 20 years ago. I don't know, the way this society is, man. Don't even get me started on that. Moving right along. You guys hear about Sunny? Sunny's been flip-flopping on social media as of late. On the one hand, she's putting out these tweets talking about how it's time for her to move on. Her wrestling career is over and it's done with. It's time for her to move on to the next phase of her life. And as a result of that, she's going to sell her WWE Hall of Fame ring. She's selling it on eBay. I think the asking price began at like 10 grand or something like that. And it's like, oh, okay, she's trying to move on, but you can't help but wonder, like, what exactly is she going to do with the money? And you also can't help but wonder, well, wait a minute, she's doing these Skype nudie calls. Isn't she getting enough money with that alone as it is? What exactly is going on here? But you hear all that and you're like, okay, she's trying to move on. Yet a couple of days later, she's answering questions about should China go into the WWE Hall of Fame? What's her impressions of the Divas division? All this shit. And it's like, wait a minute. Thought you said you were done. Thought you said you were moving on or whatever. So you hear that. You're like, yeah, what the fuck is that about? Right? Now it gets even more interesting because apparently she received an offer from a porn company. They're offering her $100,000 for her WWE Hall of Fame ring, as it looks like they want a sex tape, apparently. TMZ is reporting that Vivid Entertainment boss Steve Hirsch offered $100,000 for the ring, and in return, he wants Sunny to shoot a 90-minute sex tape. Vivid would allow Sunny to choose her partner and the location. Sunny did speak with TMZ in an interview that looks to be airing on tonight's TMZ sports show and says she's flattered with the $100,000 offer, but she feels she's worth more money. Meanwhile, Hirsch is serious about the offer and wants to do the shoot in the next 2 weeks. Nice to see that Sunny is holding out. Honestly, I don't blame her one little bit. I think the way that she is probably looking at it from a business standpoint, she's probably really, and look, we need to give her props, because long before she got into all the trouble that she had got into with the drugs, the DUIs and all that over the years, she was studying to be a lawyer. Believe it or not, she would have gone pretty damn far if she would have kept it going. I think she was in college and she was pretty close. She was maybe some credits away from completing it and all that. So, sister's got a brain. I think she might be taking into consideration her age and the fact that she might not be in as demand as she was, maybe 15 years ago, or in particular during the Attitude Era, if you will. And she probably realizes that if she does this, that there's not going to be as many sales off of these DVDs. Okay. So she's probably looking for the most lucrative deal that's possible that will see her make a shitload of money, so that she can do whatever it is that she needs to do. I pray to God that all the money would be going in the right place. Okay. That she is really serious about getting her life in order and all that. And then some, you know what I'm saying? I hope that if she's really serious about holding out, that she does get whatever lucrative deal that she is looking for. Because honestly, I don't know of that many young guys that's going to be running around trying to look at a sex video of a woman in her mid to late 40s, not unless that body is nice and tight, like former RCWR show guest Miss Kendra Luss. For you guys that's under the age of 18, I ain't got nothing more to say about that, but looking at the typical age of our audience, I think a lot of you all out there definitely will agree with me. Kendra Luss got that badunka-dunk body going on. You feel what I'm saying? WWE Tough Enough winner Josh, you know, that Chewbacca dude, who's now going by the name Bronson Matthews in NXT. My man is getting a shitload of heat right now on Twitter after tweeting a shot at WWE's Social Outcast stable during last night's Raw. This led to, get this, Curtis Axel, Adam Rose, Kevin Owens, Heath Slater, Bull Dempsey blazing him up on Twitter. Word going around is that Josh has so much heat because a lot of the workers on the main roster and in NXT felt his shot at the Social Outcast was completely disrespectful. Slater and his stable are without a doubt the mid-card group on the roster right now, but when it's all said and done, these guys, they've been in the WWE for a good minute now, especially Heath Slater, but they've put in their times respectfully, and they're at a point right now where, say what you will, they may not be Intercontinental Champion, they may not be Tag Team Champions, they may not be the WWE World Heavyweight Champion, say what you will, but the fact that they are on TV for 5, 10, maybe almost 15 minutes every single week, they're living out their dream. They're traveling the world. They're doing what they get to do. They get to interact with their fans. They have great respected followings. Versus Josh, who basically got his deal with the WWE by appearing on a reality show and winning a $250,000 contract. Yeah, no doubt. Probably a lot of folks in WWE and in NXT feel this guy should not be talking when he hasn't even paid his freaking dues yet. All right. So you got Kevin Owens. He's on Twitter. He said, look at the veteran here with the big fancy insider terms. I blocked him. Felt great. Let him laugh out loud. People like him fizzle out by themselves pretty quick anyway. He is not our peer. Stardust saying, enjoy dressing in the hall, dick. Not blocked. Banned. Curtis Axel, haha, who is this douche? Cool tweet, delete, punk ass. Heath Slater, hey Chewbacca, you get a little nervous and had to delete your tweet? Haha, hashtag punk ass, hashtag social outcast. Curtis Axel, what happened? Ha ha ha. Adam Rose, Heathy baby, who is this? Maybe it's time the WWE NXT good brothers teach some respect. The Lion's Den awaits. So, a lot that's going on right there. I can't help but kind of say to myself, is this a ploy by WWE to orchestrate something that maybe is going to see the Social Outcast appear on NXT and get in the face of Tough Enough Josh to try to help elevate him a little bit more? Or is this the real deal? Honestly, if this is the real deal, then honestly what I would expect to happen in the coming days is, if this is really serious, and if WWE needs to teach this young man a lesson, I don't know if maybe in the next coming weeks we'll see a series of Josh be involved in squash matches where he'll be on the receiving ends of defeats. He'll be involved in some embarrassing segments, if maybe that's how he will be punished. Folks that maybe think he's going to be let go by the WWE, not a chance in hell that's going to happen. Could he be suspended? Not a chance that's going to happen. He could eat shit for a little bit. I think, honestly, that is what could very well happen to the young man if this is legit. The fact that Kevin Owens said he blocked him, I mean, Kevin Owens is usually a pretty cool fucking dude on social media, but he's got to be one of also those type of cats. What you see is what you get. You know, what you see of him on TV, the way he just plays that character so well. When he's on social media, I read a lot of his tweets. He plays that heel very well when he's on social media. I personally feel it's really hard to say. It definitely has a lot of people talking. WWE NXT programming should be interesting in the next couple of weeks, since Josh did make his debut on the NXT brand not that long ago. Looks like he's off to a rather decent start, but damn, that sucks when you hear that. That sucks. In case you are wondering, Jimmy Snuka, his trial has been postponed. Attorney says that Snuka is not fit to stand trial. That's right. Jimmy Snuka's case has been postponed, as his defense attorney says the former WWE wrestling star isn't competent to stand trial. A motion for competency hearing in Pennsylvania has been filed, as Snuka was set to go on trial for third-degree murder in March. So more on that as it develops. I'm continuing to stay on top of that for you guys. And boys and girls, that's pretty much it. Okay, well, you know what? We did 2 minutes. I said 2 minutes. I wish we did 2 minutes. That it shows up. Good night, folks. I wanted to keep this under 2 hours. I'm actually happy with this. I'll take it. It's still early. I can enjoy me some Batman Arkham Knight. Your next edition of the RCWR show is going to be coming up this Sunday night, January 24th. We'll be coming on immediately after the Royal Rumble goes off on the East Coast. So make sure you join me for that. That'll be live right here on Spreaker.com. I repeat, that'll be here on Spreaker.com. Make sure you check that out. That's going to be fantastic. And then don't forget, we'll be back next Tuesday night, January 26th, 10 p.m. Eastern, all new edition of the RCWR show. We'll be dealing with Raw Aftermath, latest in headlines, much, much more. Speaking of much, much more, for all the very latest in entertainment news and beyond, be kind, rewind, check out previous episodes of the RCWR show that you might have missed on the downloads. It is on great platforms such as Spreaker, what you're listening to right now, also on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio. The RCWR show is on Tumblr, Twitter, and Vine at the RCWR show. Like, follow us on Twitter at, Facebook at Infinity One Productions. All that beautiful info you need is in this episode description below. Make sure you also do me a huge solid and leave those ratings and reviews on Stitcher and on iTunes. It's very easy to leave the rating and review on Stitcher. You don't need the app or anything. All you need to do is just pull up the desktop version on your laptop, desktop, or if you are pushing your respected cell phone, just make sure you request the desktop version of Stitcher, and you can look us up that way. Leave those rating and reviews. It helps, man. It really helps when you do that, because it makes even more and more people discover our show with more ease. Don't forget to check out our website, infinityoneproductions.com. That's with an E. Put the actual number 1 in there. Get your fix for Big Bang Theory, Blacklist, recaps. A lot of great stuff that we got going on. I got to give a shout out to my man Javo, who posted a really great editorial on Motorhead's Lemmy. Check that out. Great stuff right there. Good stuff, man. Love working with the guys over there on the website. I don't know what's going on with the TNA Insider website. We are trying very hard to get a team together. I may be bowing out because I'm just getting this whole big hoopla of, it just feels like a runaround. I got to do all this stuff just to try to resurrect the site. And like, meanwhile, I've been doing a really great job keeping my site up and active. And for many years, I was a one-man band. Now I got a small team helping me out on my website on a weekly basis. I love these guys tremendously. I love all the work that they're putting in. Team continues to grow more and more and more. I don't know what's going on with that TNA Insider website. I'm trying to lead the flag in resurrecting it, but I can't stress it enough. If you out there, if you love to write, if you're passionate about many of the wrestling products that's out there and you want to maybe write editorial/reviews on them, or if you're into sports, movies, or whatever, hit me up all throughout social media. Love to hear from you. Maybe we could work something out, test you out, see how your writing is and all that. Get you off and running on a good start. All right, guys, that is going to do it. A very good night, good morning. Until next go around, wishing all of y'all to be safe. Most importantly, be kind to one another. DMV residents, we got that snow coming. Make sure that you look out for the elderly. Make sure if they need any help with shoveling snow, you lend them a hand. Also be on the extra lookout for the homeless as hypothermia season is in effect. You see somebody that is sleeping on the streets, try to call non-emergency, get non-emergency police to help them out, get them to a Red Cross somewhere safe for the night. Too many people die in this type of weather as a result of not having a proper roof over their heads. There's a lot of shelters that's out there. You see something, say something. All right, guys. Good night. Good morning. Take care.